Welcome to Unpacking Me, the parts of trauma no one talks about. I'm your co-host, Murnell, and
I am your co-host, Nikki Cameron.
we are both trauma therapists and fellow truth tellers who were raised in a culture where we didn't question grown folks. And a beating was normal.
Absolutely.
Today we're peeling back the layers on a topic many of us carry in silence. The parenting style we were raised with in Caribbean households, Black households, and the emotional wounds they've left behind. This isn't about blaming our parents, as we always say. It's about understanding how cultural norms can shape our nervous system, self-worth, and how we show up in the world today. So let's get into it.
Yes. Let's talk about the roots of Caribbean parenting. Let's talk about the roots of Black parenting.
Yes.
So it's important again that we give a disclaimer. We're not speaking on behalf of all Black parents or all Caribbean natives.
Yes.
We are just sharing our unique perspectives and experience. And so yours might not look like ours, and that's okay.
There's always exception to the rule.
There are and will always be exceptions to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is our hope that in sharing this information, we can empower you to continue to live a life that is healthy and well and break generational curses as we all heal together.
Yes.
So, what influences parenting, the parenting culture? Where did this come from? Did you know, Murnell? So years ago, I had to do some research. I was doing a workshop, and I had to do some research. And in my research, I found that in the African culture, children were treated with love and respect. They were not even beaten because of the communities. Children were honored. And this was not something that was enforced within the African culture.
Wow.
African ancestry, wherein children were beaten.
Wow.
However, when Europeans showed up,
Those good old Europeans.
because this was their way of accountability within their culture to
That's
punish
big.
punishment,
Yeah.
when they showed up, the beatings started. And so as our ancestors were ripped away from their homes, stolen, what was used to keep our ancestors in line was punishment. Punishment that they called discipline. And so until today,
Unfortunately.
right, a lot of those behaviors, those colonialistic behaviors from enslavement continues to rock our Black culture.
Wow.
And children continue to get harmed, women continue to get harmed.
Yep.
We continue to get harmed. I'm not saying men are not harmed too. I'm just saying a lot of the parenting styles stem from colonialism, Christianity, believe it or not, enslavement, and a lot of it also is rooted in politics.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to Christianity, one thing I used to hear from my grandfather all the time was, spare the rod, spoil the child. He omitted all the rest of the verse.
I was like, that is oftentimes misquoted.
He omitted the rest of the verse. But what I heard all the damn time was, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Very misquoted. Very, very misquoted.
And that man, that word rod for him was literal.
And he'll get
a
a
rod
rod.
was a damn leather belt.
Ooh.
Or I don't know if you've ever seen, in the islands we call the trees the willow trees. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's these trees and they have these wispy branches like, and so oftentimes parents would plait them together. They were so thin, they would plait them together and use them to beat children. And so for him, the rod was literal. He was a literal thing, you know.
In Haitian culture, we used to have. I don't see it anymore. I don't know how it phased out. And if I ever get my hand on it, I'm gonna keep it to show because it's historical.
Yeah.
It's an actual whip.
What do you mean, an actual whip?
It's a braided leather.
You know what?
It's a braided leather whip that they would beat children with.
Yeah.
And don't let that whip, don't feel the air when that whip is about to hit you. Just the air alone will leave the welt of a lifetime on your body.
Wow.
It's an actual whip.
So, this link between survival-based parenting and strict, I want to even say rigid, strict discipline has harmed so many of us.
Yeah.
And the messages passed down when it comes on to parenting is children must be seen and not heard. Can you think of some, Murnell?
Yeah, no, that's the biggest one in my culture.
Children seen or not heard.
You are seen, but you are not heard. You mind your business. Stay out of grown folks' business. You mind your business and you keep it pushing.
Yeah, or they tell you lucky you don't get a harder beating, or you think life is easy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times discipline is tied to love. And when you confront parents about the fact that, you know what, how you disciplined me was not healthy.
Okay.
It was harmful. Mm-hmm. Sometimes what people get is dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's this emotional manipulation, guilt tripping. Well, you weren't an easy child. Mm-hmm. Or if I didn't love you, I wouldn't have beat you.
You know what I also think? I like how we started off the today's episode with a little history on how slavery and colonialism play a big role in how African Americans and how African Black people and Caribbeans discipline their children. And one of it was that there was respectability politics.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is people don't respect children.
Respect and children? Very rare.
And that blows my mind.
Very rare.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
How we require respect from them, but don't respect them.
The sad truth is children are not humanized.
No.
I hate to say it, but from my experience, my unique experience and what I've seen, oftentimes children are not humanized. Mm-hmm. They're seen as children, but they're not often humanized as having emotions, as having feelings, as having rights, and a lot of people will agree with me on this. And you know what? You get to have your opinion as well. You get to have your views. You are allowed. And because of this way of being where children are not necessarily humanized, a lot of kids are harmed.
Yeah, because they're property.
Say that again.
They're property.
Right. Believe it or not, a lot of parents believe that they bring children into the world to make sure when they get old they're taken care of. And a lot of time children it was a whoopsie. Oops.
Our bad.
The condom popped, or oops. And a lot of times people don't want to name it. So our kids come into the world and the one parent started acting up when they found out the mom was pregnant. The dad maybe started acting up, or mom was pissed with dad, and so now the kid, each time the mom looks at the kid, it's an eyesore for it. So children are oftentimes put in situations they should never have been in. I've seen
dogs treated better than children.
Yes.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. And parenting is also, so there's survival-based parenting and there's performance-based parenting, where I need to make sure that my kids are well-behaved. That's really code for I need to make sure my kids are perfect.
Yeah.
So when we go out in public or people see us, what they will see is that you are well-behaved, because if my kids are well-behaved, then I'm seen as a success. And that is so unfair, and so many kids don't get to be children. They don't get to be children. And what's sad is that a lot of parents are not told that your child's brain develops from the bottom up.
I love how you say that, because I've noticed very few people understand child development. That's not something that's widely taught anybody.
No.
And to be honest, if I wasn't in this field, what child development course was I about to take?
Listen, because parents don't understand that when a baby comes into the world, our brain develops from the bottom up. So in the back, toward the back of our brains, we have what's called this limbic system, and we have what's called the amygdala, the hippocampus, where memories store. The amygdala is really kind of like central command for emotions. And then we have toward the front, the prefrontal cortex. When our brains are developing, oftentimes children learn by watching and feeling, experiencing. So I've heard the term children do what they see, children do what they hear, right? And people don't understand as parents that your child's brain is developing from the bottom up. So imposing the expectation of a mature adult into a child is really setting them up for failure and setting yourselves up as a parent for disappointment. We don't realize that your child watches and experiences and feels and learns and witnesses, and that's how they store messages and make meaning of things, and they have these experiences, and then beliefs are formed. So because a lot of times we weren't told this as parents, our expectations of our children become somewhat unrealistic.
Very.
Why do I have to keep telling you the same thing over and over again? Well, because if they're stressed, their brains aren't necessarily going to retain. And when a brain is stressed, the first thing that tends to go, one of the first things is memory. And then kids are beaten for things.
And even in they're in their right developmental age. There's a stage in life where listening is not my priority. As they're developing that little toddler stage, they're learning to listen, and that's what I've had a lot of people say to me. Oh, they never listen to me. There's something must be wrong with them. They're in their developmental stage of life, and listening is not a priority. Exploring the world is a priority. Being human is a priority at this moment. And so it's a lot that we don't understand about child development, which plays a role in how we parent our children along the line, and also along with colonialism and slavery.
Right. Also, as children, we learn things through repetition. Even as grown up. You know how they say practice makes perfect? So as children are trying to develop a habit of discipline, repeated behaviors over and over and over again. It's the same for adults. I mean, you know, a lot of our clients are trying to change behaviors, and we're having to advise them, if you want this thing to change, yes, a lot of it is in your thoughts and how your beliefs, and another piece of it is repeated behaviors. Repetition changes habits. And if repetition creates habits and it contributes to beliefs and meaning making, then kids need repeated instruction and guidance to help them in their development, right? So what often gets labeled as love, right, looks like withholding love, withholding emotion. So verbal aggression or shame-based discipline. I've been called more names than I can imagine in a derogative manner by people who were my caregivers. And when we talk about parenting, please understand we're not necessarily saying your biological mother or your biological father. You have a biological mother or father, but let's talk about households where you have aunts and uncles or grandma, great grandma, and everybody is living as a community collectively. Everybody's parenting. Everyone is parenting. And then when you go to church,
that's a whole community.
Sister so and so or pastor so and so. When you go to school, the teachers. So in our talk of parenting, we are also applying this to the role of a caregiver. Because if you are babysitting someone's child, you are applying parenting to that child while you're keeping them. So this also goes for you. We're not necessarily talking about biological parents, because a lot of harm has been done to children by people who are not their biological parents. A lot of harm was done to me by people who are not my parents. All in the name of parenting me in love, you know? And the other way that we tend to see love, what's being labeled as love as harm, is over-policing children's behavior, especially girls.
OMG.
Girls are not supposed to do this. Don't sit this way. Don't wear that. You do this and your brother gets to do that, but you can't do this. And often there's no space being made for repair or apology. Parents will do things. I'm a parent too, and my daughter's an adult now, but there's so many things that I've done that I witnessed or was taught to me that was normalized, and I didn't know any better. Imagine the shame I felt and guilt when I decided to go back to school to become a therapist and recognize that some of the things that I did actually led to harm. I mean, I didn't murder my daughter or taunt her and terrorize her and anything, but a lot of the things that I did, all in the name of discipline, were harmful, and I didn't know any better. But I made a commitment that I wanted to parent differently. I wanted to parent differently because some of the things that I experienced, it was harmful.
Very.
And I didn't want to impose that onto my child. At the end of the day, we were raised to fear our caregivers more than we were raised to feel safe with them.
Yeah.
We were raised to fear them because of this belief that fear equals respect.
Yeah.
Fear and respect are not necessarily the same. They're not the same thing.
They're not.
And a lot of parents believe that if a child is afraid of me, then that's a sign of respect.
But I think and that's another aspect of it, right? We define respect differently for children than we do for adults.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Respect means I give you food to eat.
I give you food to eat.
And you get somewhere to sleep. And I make sure you have clothes.
Oh,
that's respect.
gosh.
But outside of that, you don't.
And you should thank me for it, by the way.
Yeah. And I think the important thing I want to know is the difference between discipline and the difference between punishment.
Punishment, yes. We oftentimes discipline, air quote, but really what we're doing is punishing.
Yeah. Because discipline means that I am guiding.
Yes, you learn through discipline.
Yeah, I'm coaching you so that you have an opportunity to learn to do things differently the next time. Punishment, on the other hand,
straight up punching the face.
You know, we're laughing, but I mean,
it's true.
The consequences, punishment tends to be very punitive.
Degrading.
Yes, humiliating.
Yeah.
And so children are not prisoners. You know, there's one time, speaking about respect, I remember when my daughter was young, and this thing we do in the Caribbean, right? Where we hiss our teeth, right? So just for demonstration is, so when something's done and we don't like it, we hiss our teeth. So my daughter did or said something and I hissed my teeth, and she goes, you know, if I would have done that to you,
oh wow,
you would have popped me for it. Why is it okay for you to hiss your teeth at me, but I can't do it?
Ooh.
Mernell,
she told you.
The shame I felt because she was right.
She's right.
I felt it in my core. And I caught myself getting defensive. She was maybe 11 at the time. I caught myself getting defensive. And at first, I didn't want to apologize because I felt like a flipping fool. Because she was right, though. And I sucked it up and I said, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. And then I caught myself wanting to say the but. But again, I stopped and I owned it. Was it comfortable? No, it was uncomfortable as hell. But I owed her that respect.
Yeah.
She deserved that respect because I expected her to respect me, so she deserved to have respect the same way I did. So I just wanted to share that, you know? So the next thing is what wounds tend to develop because of this belief that we discipline in love. So what's masked as love, which, by the way, love does not hurt.
It doesn't. It is patient.
Love is kind.
It's not self-seeking.
Love does not beat me with a leather belt until my skin comes off.
Love doesn't call me names and berate
like
me.
A dumbass. Or tell me I'm never going to amount to anything.
That's not loving behavior.
No, love does not disrespect.
That's hateful behavior.
Love does not shame me like that.
No.
In a toxic way.
Yeah.
So it might look like hypervigilance. So what is hypervigilance?
And a constant anxiety where you're always looking over your shoulder, thinking that something is going to harm you. So it pushes you to constantly attempt people pleasing. Okay. Or waiting for the slap that's coming that never comes, but you're always in a constant state of waiting for it to come.
Okay.
And so the wounds also look like low emotional literacy.
What do you mean?
When you can't name or express feelings without guilt. Guilt being, I did something bad. And sometimes shame is involved. Shame being, I am bad. And it also looked like chronic guilt, feeling like you're bad for having boundaries. You can't say no. You
can't ask questions.
You can't say that's painful. Don't do it.
God forbid you talk back.
You can't say no. I don't like that. And it looks like disconnection. struggling with intimacy as a child, as an adult, authority figures, or parenting your own kids, all of those things are disconnection. And growing up, I used to be a very quiet child. I always say I used to be this quiet child who always says yes. My mother was like, oh, she's such a good child. I barely got beaten.
The good girl.
I was a good girl. No emotional intimacy. I was so disconnected from everybody because I just did what I was told to get by.
Right, because perfection
is what they expected of
me. And perfect humans aren't real.
No.
You're not a robot.
No.
And unfortunately, we expect children to function that way.
Yeah.
And it's I just want to point out or emphasize the fact that you're not lazy.
Yeah.
You were raised to obey, not to listen to your body.
Right.
And a lot of good girls or good boys function in a state of disconnection. We call it dissociation.
Yeah.
You can't say no. You can't argue back. You can't question. And a lot of good girls or good boys become adults who can't even speak up for themselves at work.
Have no voice.
Even in relationships. Because we've been so used to turning off what makes us human and what makes us authentic that when it's time to defend ourselves, we can't. We
don't know how.
We don't know how, and we can't because it doesn't feel safe in our bodies.
Right.
So, I shared a few moments ago the situation with my daughter in the sense that she called me out. And one thing I'm proud about as a parent, I'm not parenting a child anymore, but what I was proud of was my willingness to feel the discomfort of being held accountable by my daughter. And when my family would see me do that, they would tell me she's rude. No, she's not rude.
She's not. She's a person with a voice.
Yes.
She knows
and
what
when she
likes.
would ask questions, they would say, what's the favorite? She's disrespectful.
Oh.
So the minute you try to set a boundary or question something that children will call you out on your bullshit. They will call you out on it. And when she would question things or call things out, others, the elders in the family would say she's disrespectful. And I'm like, no, she's not. So because of that, I didn't allow everyone or anyone to babysit my daughter because I knew because of their beliefs they could cause her harm.
Yeah.
And I was not having it.
Right.
I was very particular about who I would allow to keep my child. So even though as parents, and I'm going to speak as a parent here, even though I love my daughter dearly, I can admit that sometimes some of the things I did, I'm sure didn't feel like love.
No.
And even though I know my family loves me, like I know without a doubt, a lot of the things that was done wasn't feeling like love some of the time.
Right.
And why is this so hard for people to talk about? But you know what? There's another thing I want to name. So when my mother got married, her first marriage, his family, when I say abusive to the core, we experienced, my siblings and I, more abuse than I could ever name.
Wow.
Verbal, physical, sexual.
Wow.
All in the name of discipline.
Wow.
So talk about a contradiction for a child. Wow. Because in my mom's family, we knew if we did things, we'd be punished or held accountable. But when my mother married into this family, her first marriage, for us, the mass confusion, talk about hypervigilance.
There it is.
Constant tormenting from my, at the time, stepfather's family. It came from his mother. It came from his brothers. Wow. We were humiliated. So, my brother and I, we laugh and we're like, it's a wonder we're not crackheads because of the torment we experienced.
That's true.
And not for the life of me, I can't understand what we ever did as kids for these miserable people to cause us such harm. So I think it's important to name, though, that sometimes how people name discipline is manipulation and it causes significant harm. And sometimes what people call discipline can look like sexual abuse.
And that's nuts.
Nuts is an understatement.
Diabolical.
Nuts is an understatement.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's so true.
So I wanted to name it that because we're talking about things that don't get talked about with trauma, that sometimes in the name of discipline or punishment, it can look like sexual abuse.
Like, that's twisted.
Well, imagine.
That's twisted.
Just imagine the reality of it all. So why is it so hard to talk about?
There's a lot of family loyalty.
You mean toxic loyalty.
Toxic loyalty. We don't talk about things that happen in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happens in the home, we don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the time, the truth gets
Mm-hmm.
swept under the rug and
Mm-hmm.
left there
Mm-hmm.
to just do what it does.
Yeah.
And there's fear of being seen as ungrateful. I've had parents say to me, I give her everything. I give her a house to live and all of these things. And I'm like, and she should be grateful. It's because of me they're alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who else is supposed to keep me alive
Listen.
if it wasn't because of you? So that fear of being seen as ungrateful, but they did so much for me. And parents often did better than they received. So if they felt like they're giving their children the world,
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't get a specific part of that world,
Mm-hmm.
but they give it to their children,
Mm-hmm.
they feel like they're doing better
Mm-hmm.
for their children.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't realize that even in that place, harm can still happen.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times, it's honoring your pain does not mean dishonoring your parents.
So as a parent myself, I want to maybe chime in on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand as a parent, though, when you feel like, because as parents, we're told you sacrifice for your kids. You make sure that you give them everything and you're their protector and they have a house to sleep in and school. And oftentimes parents are taught that that's it.
That's it.
They're not taught about the fact that the emotional piece of it needs to be nurtured. Or safety is not even necessarily defined for parents. Safety is often, I keep them from getting killed. I keep them from getting...
They stay alive.
Right. But as a parent, I'm going to just make explicit the fact that parents, I know, because my daughter's an adult, like I said, and I know that oftentimes you do the best that you can given what you know.
Yes.
And you work your ass off to make sure your kids are okay. And sometimes as a parent, you don't know if you're going or you don't know if you're coming. Sometimes you're hanging on by a last thread and you feel like you may lose your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need 5 minutes locked in the closet. And sometimes you pull up in the parking lot and you don't want to get out of the car because you just need peace. And also, though, a lot of the things that we do or have done as parents who have adult children, it has caused them harm.
A lot.
It doesn't necessarily make you a bad person.
No.
It just means that when your child comes to you and says, what you did harmed me, as uncomfortable as it feels, and I am telling you, I get it, because sometimes when my daughter confronts me on things, right, it hits me in my core, the embarrassment of it and the discomfort. But I love her so much. And I value our relationship so much that I sit in the discomfort and I listen. And I own what I need to own. And I apologize for it. And I work my behind off to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I accept that I am not perfect. And I am human. And I made a lot of mistakes. And at the time, I didn't know what I know now. And because I love my kids so much, I need her to know that I love her enough to make a commitment to do things differently, to change my behaviors.
That's beautiful.
So own it that it's uncomfortable. Own it that it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Own it that you tried your best. And own it that the shame hits when you're confronted. And also own that we didn't do everything in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad person,
Yeah.
but I made a lot of decisions and a lot of parenting decisions that weren't healthy or ideal for my daughter. Mm-hmm. And even though she tells me that I'm an amazing mother,
Mm-hmm.
she always says, you and Dad, you guys are best parents anyone could have. You know why? Because when she confronts us on things, we apologize. Even when she was younger, we owned it, and we asked what we needed to do to repair. It's uncomfortable as hell. But when you love someone enough, you will make the commitment to do the work to change whatever is causing them harm. Right. So I just wanted to name that, because until you have a kid, and there are a lot of things I was pissed at my mom for, but now having a kid and getting it, I feel nothing but compassion for my mother. I allow myself to be angry about some of the behaviors, right, that my mother had or my father had, but I feel compassion for her because she tried her best. My father took off. He had it easy. He just abandoned us, right? But my mother did the best she could, and we had an amazing community of family, you know, and my mother did her best, and I feel compassion. So parents, it's not easy, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you did your best. But when you love your kids enough, own it and make a commitment to making it better.
Right.
So I just wanted to name that, you know?
That's good.
I just wanted to name that because I get it. I get it. The shame feels real sometimes.
Yeah.
But shame can be healthy because it holds us accountable to do better in relationships, you know?
And I wonder, what parenting advice do you have for parents who are parenting now and upcoming parents, since you have done it? And I think it will be best for you to share some wisdom with us non-parents.
You know, one thing that helped me is I started to read more about parenting. I wanted to do it differently. I wanted to do a better job. So I started to read articles on parenting, watching different things about parenting because I knew I wasn't perfect. The other thing I would say is to accept that you're not perfect. You are not perfect. You are not above correction from a child. If a child can't correct you as an adult, then check your ego.
Well, say that again.
If a child cannot tell you when you are wrong and you feel disrespected when a child calls you out on your behavior, check your ego.
Whoop.
Check your ego.
Yeah.
Because people like that will cause harm to children. You know, I think it's important to understand that. Say you're sorry. A lot of people won't say they're sorry, especially Caribbean people, especially in the black household with parents. And I'm not saying all black parents parent in unhealthy ways. That's not what I'm saying. But for those of us who struggled, say you're sorry.
Just say
when
sorry.
you're wrong, own it. Own it without the word but. Own it. And go sit down somewhere in the discomfort and cry if you need to. But own it. Don't make it worse by gaslighting your kids and dismissing. Own it. And don't point out, well, you did this to me. Well, what are we doing? Tit for tat? Own it.
Child.
You know, go to therapy. Go to therapy. I've done years of therapy because I wanted to break the curse of dysfunction. I wanted to parent differently and have a healthy relationship. Allow your children to express themselves without fear. And this is where discipline comes in. Guide them. Provide guidance. Repair with apologies and humility. You know, families who you see look like they're having it together, ask them for tips. You know, it's okay to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. And instead of asking your kids what's wrong with you, ask them what happened. What happened to you? What's happening? Instead of telling a kid, fix your face, hey, you look upset. Is there something you want to tell me? You know, just be kind.
Yeah.
If you don't treat your child or teenager the way you treat your pastor, or your boss,
right,
or your friends, then ask yourself, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
If the way you talk to your kid, you would never talk to your boss or your pastor or your supervisor or your friends, you really want to take a step back and question that. No one should have more respect over your child because your children are human and they retain information and feelings and experiences.
Right. I like that. If you wouldn't do it in public, don't do it in private.
Right. Right.
And so, as we're coming to a close, I would like to give some journal prompts for our journalers out there, those who like to write. What were you taught about love, discipline, and obedience growing up? And what did you need but never received emotionally as a child? That's a nice one. Yeah. And I want to share some affirmations with us as well.
I want to just point something out. If you're not someone who enjoys writing, because some people don't like to write for journaling, I always recommend to individuals who don't necessarily like to write to journal, do voice notes. I will sit and on my phone I will record myself talking out what I feel. And that is just as powerful. So you might not like to write, do voice notes.
Or you could draw the journal prompt.
Or draw. Draw what you feel.
Yeah. And so some affirmations I would like us to, we want to leave with you guys is, I am allowed to grieve what I didn't receive. Ooh. I can love my family and still hold the truth.
Yes.
It's nice. Mom.
Yes. There's no rule that says that you can only experience one emotion at a time. I can love my mother dearly and still be angry about behaviors that harmed me.
Yes.
Love does not necessarily mean that I don't get to feel angry.
Yes.
The two can coexist, but work on the anger.
Yeah.
Work on the anger, but don't feel like you are only allowed to have one emotion at a time. You can have a multiplicity of emotion.
Yeah.
In one experience, I can feel angry, disappointed, I can love you, I can feel fearful, anxious, and they all get to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other exercises, Myrnell, or any other affirmations you want to share? And then I'll do an exercise.
No, I think that's it for now.
Okay.
I would like to hear the exercise.
So I'm inviting you, whether you're a parent or you're an adult child or a younger child, to just place your hand on your heart and take a deep breath and sigh. Sigh 3 times. And at the end, just allow yourself to say, I am not a bad child. I was a child doing my best to survive. I am not a bad child. I was a child doing my best to survive. And if you are a parent, you too get to place your hand over your heart and give yourselves a deep breath and a second breath and a third breath. And you get to affirm, I am not a bad parent. I am not a bad person. I was a parent doing my best to survive. I'm not a bad person. I was a parent doing my best to survive. So just to recap, Caribbean parenting, it's raised some of the strongest people I know.
Yes.
Right? Parenting as a whole, especially in the Black community. We are a people of resilience. We're a people of strength. Yes. We are a people of power. But it's cost us a lot of softness and safety and emotional expression. This strength has cost us dearly. Now, we get to choose to do something different.
Yes.
So, I invite you to share this episode with someone you know that is navigating parenting or navigating being an adult child.
Yeah.
Or being just a teenager. And so the next time we meet, we will be diving into another layer of guilt is not love.
Ooh.
Exploring how obligation keeps us bound to pain. You won't want to miss it.
Yes.
And until then, Myrna, what should they do?
Be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Because you deserve it.
Until next time, take care.